Hello. What I'm going to talk about is the difference in the club from the 60s, the 50s, till the present time. The Long Beach Neptunes broke away from the Los Angeles Neptunes in 1952 and started their own club. Right now it's the oldest active spearfishing club in the U.S. The main differences that we have from now to back then was it was competition spearfishing was the number one thing everyone did. Very few Neptunes in those days had boats. The equipment was different and it was limited. And we mainly dove beach meets. In the beginning, we had a lot of social activities, a lot of beach parties, Halloween parties, Christmas parties, lots of family activities. We had an abalone dinner. The tickets cost $3 for all you could eat. In competition, our divers were very successfully, locally, Pacific Coast, nationals, and in international competition. Neptune Terry Lentz is the only American to win first place in the world meet. Doc Matheson won the first ISUA award for the top spearfisherman of the year in 1952. He was on the cover of the first Skin Diver magazine. And the Neptunes have won 9 of these awards. No other club has come even close. We even have a father and son, Bob and Brian Donnell, and he's here somewhere today with his son. And they're the only father and son winner of that award. These competitive divers were amazing. They spent all the time in the water, scouting, training, and competition. Work had to be definitely second thought. A lot of our dives were off the beach. We speared calico bass, sheep's head, perch, sand bass, occasional game fish. At the beach meets, we'd go out early in the morning, come back at about noon, count and weigh our catches, and then prepare a chowder with what we had caught that day. And that again was a family get-together, and we had like 1 or 2 of these a month. Equipment was different. The main gun was a 42-inch arbalete style, 1 band, 1 wrap of line, and a 5-prong.
Quick to load.
Very fast to shoot, retrieve, get the fish on the stringer, and reload. If the club wanted to go to Cortez Banks or any of the local islands, we'd charter a big boat. We'd go out there for black sea bass and other game fish. We'd charter it for 1 or 2 days, and it was a great chance to get to know each other. As divers started getting their own boats, we dove the islands and Mexico for game fish, black sea bass, grouper, and we had to build bigger guns. In the 60s, we started to go to Mexico, Puerto Peñasco, Quino Bay, Guaymas. On the mainland, Santo Tomas, Gonzaga Bay, and LA Bay in Baja. One of the most enjoyable social events was our Naples Christmas boat parade. Over the years, we towed several floats through the Naples Canal, and the most popular being a dragon that breathed fire.
It's like Christmas carols.
And nothing was more Christmas than 30-plus divers swimming with drinks and singing Christmas carols. Our Blue Water Invitational Meet started in 1964. It's well and still going strong. Many of our Neptunes were in Carlos Isles, who was also a Neptune, booked The Last of the Blue Water Hunters, and it's Jay Rife on the cover. As time went on, we got away from beach dives and became blue water hunters. And the vision I want to have you guys keep is that back then, competitive diving, smaller guns, smaller fish, and the whole family. I want to thank the Pistoleros and James and Joseph's Dive Shop for putting on this event.
And again, I'd like to thank the Pistoleros and James and Joseph. It's just, I got to visit with people I haven't seen in an age. It's really a great get together. I didn't start as early as Dale. They had fins when I started. But I do remember I met my first diver in 1957. My parents lived in Huntington Beach, and our neighbors had a son my age, and we played together, and his father was a diver. And so I watched Sea Hunt, and I went to my parents, and I said, oh, gee whiz, you know, our neighbor's a diver, and I really want to learn how to dive. And they said, no. So many years later, I met a guy named Tony Friedman. And Tony was a skin diver and an instructor at Santa College, and he kept trying to talk me to go diving with him. And I kept saying, you know, Tony, I heard there's sharks out there. And he said, Harry, you'll never ever see a shark, I promise. So much for Tony's guarantees. And I first started diving in San Diego because I'm from Orange County, but I didn't know any divers in Orange County. I didn't know any free divers in Orange County. So I started diving in San Diego, which was really, for me, it was great because this is the birthplace of diving in the Western United States. And I got to dive with some of the bottom scratchers and Jack and Wally and Marty, and it was just a tremendous way to start for me. And the experience, and the first good spear gun I ever got was one from Jack, where if I went on a 2-day trip, I didn't have to take spare trigger mechanisms. And that was very nice. Then, so I dove for a number of years. I drove to San Diego every weekend to go out to Coronados or go down south. And kind of started learning my pliant diving. But when I dove with the guys at San Diego, most of them, not all of them, but the guys I was diving with would never tell you anything. They wouldn't tell you how to hunt a fish or how to dive on this, and I kind of slowly learned and grasped the ideas and learned that myself. And then I met a guy named John Lockridge. John Lockridge was a Neptune. I think he joined the club in 1966, something like that. And so John became my mentor in the Neptunes, and that's how I evolved to dive with the Neptunes and become a Long Beach Neptune. And I must admit, the first time I started diving with the Neptunes, the first trip to Baja was an education. These guys, Dale, Cody, Dwayne Smith, Dale Conrad, they had this dialed in. They had the gear and knew the areas and really taught me a lot. It was a real quick learning curve. And I'm a life member of the Neptunes, which means I'm getting older. I'm trying to avoid that, but I can't. And so that's my brief history in diving. I've had the pleasure of diving with some of the best divers in the world. San Diego and all over the place, and of course we have our sister club here, the Fathomeers, and it's really been a great journey. And one of the true first loves of my life is getting into diving and spearfishing. I do have to say one thing before I leave here. The best diver I ever saw is Scott DeFermian. You owe me $20, Scott. Where is he? Where is he? Told him I'd say that. Thank you very much.